Okay. I think we'll start off by talking about the last email that was sent out about the final important reminders. And I think we'll start with COVID supplies. David Eisenberg, I'll toss it to you.
Thank you. I don't have the reminder right in front of me, but so either you or Howie will fill me in on anything I forgot. But a couple things that were in the reminder, and the reason we headlined them is because they're sort of things you need to do, as opposed to it's up to you how many pair of bike shorts you bring. But you need to bring enough COVID test kits so that if need be, you can test on every day of the ride. I've had at least one person say to me, "Oh, I don't plan on testing that often." It's not actually up to you. If we have a problem with COVID on the ride, it's our discretion, and this is in the COVID policy we distributed. It's at our discretion to ask people to test. And if you say, I don't have any tests, it's going to be a problem. So please do that. Another please do. Right now in, I think, all of Israel, masks are optional, but there's no guarantee that that remains the case. And we do have people who definitely are more comfortable when they're indoors wearing a mask. We totally respect that. On the possibility that they might not be optional in some parts of the ride, please bring enough masks, and preferably the disposable ones. I think most of those are seen as probably safer, better filtration than the cloth ones. So it's up to you how many you bring, but please bring enough that if it does turn out that you frequently need them and when you're indoors, you have them. And then one final thing, we've given people as much guidance as we know how to give you on COVID policies during the ride. But there's also the process of getting to Israel. And those policies have changed on and off throughout the last 3 years. Right now, they seem to be pretty liberal, but I'd still encourage everybody to double check with your airline before you go to the airport, several days before you go to the airport, to find out what they define as the current requirements for you to board the plane. Because if you get to the airport and they say, oh, you don't have this piece of paper, we can't let you on the plane, we can't do anything about that. So as an example, I checked with Delta this week, and in fairness, this might be a mistake on their website, but it could be real. And basically it was language that says you need to show proof of having insurance that will cover you if you get COVID while you're in Israel. So I took care of getting that paperwork. I actually did it with a supplemental policy because that was the easiest, and that also provides us some coverages that my insurance doesn't. But each person will make their own decision what's the best way to do it. But that's a good example of something that, you know, we can't give you guidance because we're not in control of those rules. It's not what we do for a living. But I think those were the three most important highlights we stressed in the email that Alana sent out today. The email also included an attachment, the welcome packet. Take a few minutes and read through it. I think it's got a lot of good advice, and hopefully it leaves you as excited as all of it. Hopefully leaves you as excited as we are to be back in Israel for a bike ride. Alana, did I leave anything out?
Yes. Well, that was everything.
It happens.
COVID related, but there is a bit of information that I think we should emphasize on this call, which is the visa, this little piece of paper that you'll be getting at the airport. It's not a visa you have to apply for in advance. It's just something that Americans get upon arrival. And the new law in Israel requires that you show it when you check into hotels. So you could be exempt from VAT, which is the Israeli sales tax. So we're asking that all riders save their little slip of paper. You could put it in your passport, maybe. That's usually what I do. And then when you check in, oh, are you holding it up, Maurice?
Yeah. My screensavers or whatever displays in the way.
Overriding it.
There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, great. So basically save that and give it to us, and so that we can get a return on VAT for the hotels. And finally, let's see if there was anything else in the email. We had one of our staff members suggested that you take a picture of your luggage before you give it off, check it in, just in case, let's say it gets lost and you're on the ride and a staff member is trying to help find your luggage, like we can have a picture of it. So that's just a tip that could potentially help. Yeah. Am I missing anything, David and Howie, from that email?
No, I just want to emphasize that, particularly to alumni, that this is the issue with the passport, the tourist visa is different than it has been in previous years. In previous years, your passport was enough and was rarely asked for. Now all the hotels are looking for this. And the value added tax is 17% in Israel. So it's probably $200 to $250 worth of cost if you don't bring it to us. That will be on you. So please pay attention to that as you get it.
Okay, great. Morris, I see you have your virtual.
Yeah, virtual and actual.
One
Go
quick
ahead, David.
request. As people ask questions, introduce yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Morris Maslia. I'm with the JNF Atlanta team. This will be my, someone promoted me to team captain. And this will be my third Israel ride. And I think I'm in the best shape that I've ever been doing that. But I see David and I are probably using the same airline. So I actually I'm boarding in Atlanta to Boston and then Boston to Tel Aviv. So from the Atlanta to Boston, at least, the Delta agent told me you need your HHS CDC hard copy card with you for COVID.
Oh, that's good to know.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you have digital, but that's what she told me. And I just talked to her yesterday morning.
And, I think the key on these things is err on the side of having what they tell you.
Yeah. And the other thing, today I just went to the Israel, whatever, to see if there were any forms we needed to fill out, as I've done for some other countries earlier in the COVID thing. And there's a big message. I think it's the Israel Ministry of Health or whatever that says at this point, there are no entry requirements.
Okay.
So that was my 2 comments.
That's good.
Thank you. Judy Burton. Hello.
Hello, I'm Judy Burton. I did the Israel ride in 2014. So this will be my second one, and I'm really looking forward to it since I signed up for it before COVID. And as we all know, it didn't happen. So a couple of questions. Thank you, David, for talking about the Delta thing. I knew I had to get the insurance because my supplemental people told me and sent it to me ahead. So anybody that has Travel Guard, if you ask them, they can just send it to you in an email. I was wondering, because I'm going on both the pre and the post tours, about COVID testing and supplies. And, since we'll be getting there early and then going into Jordan for Petra Wadi Ram, coming back in, what the differences in all of that might be in terms of number of tests, days for the tests.
I would bring enough tests so that you have one for every day you're with the ride. And that includes, in your case, in addition to the days of the ride, it'll include 2 days for the pre-ride program, plus either 1 or 2 days for the Petra program, depending on what you're doing. And, for everybody, in all likelihood, we hope as many as you bring back home at the end of the ride. But we do need you to have them because this is a large enough population that's traveled enough places. There's going to be COVID and we will need to do testing. And if people don't have the tests, it'll be a problem. So
I have 2 more quick questions. On the WhatsApp group. So can we leave our phones on airplane mode? Or do we have to have our phones off airplane mode because of that WhatsApp at all times? Can somebody answer that question?
You
And
can,
then I have one more.
WhatsApp can work on Wi-Fi, like, so when you're in Wi-Fi, you could use WhatsApp. I think in
Out
general,
on the road,
on the road, we're requiring that people have a working Israeli phone in case of emergencies. So
right?
I would say not to have it on airplane mode if possible.
So you're saying that we should leave it on at all times? Because I'm going to get an international plan from Verizon.
Yeah,
was-
so just leave it on.
Yeah.
So it's going to accrue a lot of data that way and cost a lot of money.
If
I
you do
have
that,
I have the Verizon plan and it's $10 a day flat unlimited. So it will cost you $10 a day, but it's unlimited and you can make as many calls as you want and receive as many calls as you want. So it will cost you money, but it's $10 a day.
You can turn off data and just leave on the mobile part. So you can get calls and not do data.
Well,
For
$16,
You can't leave it on airplane mode?
No,
for $16, you can get the 19 plan that the ride is sponsoring.
I don't know what that is.
No?
we've sent
We
out the
all-
link
all
for
the
it. We can
emails.
resend it.
It's in the travel kit.
Yeah.
There's a SIM card that is Israeli that you could get.
I'm
at
not going to, no, not interested.
Well,
I'm-
I mean, when I've looked into international plans, sometimes it's like $50 for a month. Like I'm not sure it has to be $10 a day. Maybe there's, a lesser plan you could get that can cover your needs.
And I don't think we can do all the shopping for people, but
No.
you will have a choice with Verizon. It's probably the most convenient, but also the most expensive. We've also sent out a link for a choice that is rent either a SIM card or a phone, your choice. And there's a whole bunch of others, but for us to be able to connect with people, their phone has to be connected. Airplane mode won't do it. In the hotels, if you're just connected to Wi-Fi, it'll be fine. On the road, you have to be connected to a cellular system.
Yeah, the problem getting in at 3:00 on Shabbat, nothing may be open because of Shabbat. And that's my biggest concern about getting an Israeli SIM card or
You
Israeli
can-
phone.
Yeah, I think we can talk offline about it if you'd like, but you don't have to pick it up the moment you get in. You can pick it up elsewhere in Israel.
All right, the other question has nothing to do with that. I know on the test rides, there's something in the literature about going out for a test ride in the new tunnel. Is that only going to be offered in the afternoon or will it be offered in the morning?
It'll only be in the afternoon, and actually it's a slightly more demanding ride than our normal test rides. So we'll also be doing the continuous test rides that are just within a few miles of the hotel. And I think for most riders, that'll actually be what's more appropriate. But the people who are really anxious to see the tunnel and probably ride at the higher end for the pace, because it's probably 15 miles back and forth. We're going to offer that, but I think
Yeah.
for most of the riders, it'll just do one of the loop practice rides. That's what you need from a safety perspective to be sure your legs are working and your bike is working.
That just sounded cool, but if it's going to be lengthy, I'm not so
It's
sure.
cool, but it's a demanding ride and it will go at a relatively fast pace. There won't be multiple groups.
yes, it's only recommended for either people in the Chalutzim group or who are strong Sofim riders. We just don't have enough time to do it, and it's chunks of it are in the city with traffic, etc. And there will only be one of those rides because the whole thing is 90 minutes plus.
Yeah.
You may want to just in general send an email out to some people so they know that. Just a
And we'll
suggestion.
also make those announcements on all the information boards. I think Josh was the next hand up.
Thank you.
My pleasure, our pleasure.
Okay, so I sent an email question about this to Ilana, but we have family in Israel, and one of the family members said they'd like to meet up with us, and it works out for them to come and meet us in the Ashkelon. And so how can we arrange to pay for their dinner? We'd like to treat them.
We'll handle that offline. Let's try and make this less personal sort of questions and more general ones. We will be able to work that out. But I just want to try and get to people who have, more questions that are.
Yeah, I thought other people might have similar issues.
Actually, I'll just say this. We were figuring out the logistics. I'll get back to you personally, Shosh, but
yeah. And I might have another cousin too. So it's like more than, I'm still waiting to hear back. Thank you.
Just so you know, we are going to Ashdod, not Ashkelon. So I don't know.
So maybe I have the wrong hotel.
I'll write you personally. So.
Okay, please, because I want to make sure that works for their schedule. Thank you.
Yeah, if they go to the hotel in Ashkelon, it's free, but the hotel's closed.
Okay, I better get to, let's
Okay.
deal with that one quickly. Thank you.
Ellen Cohen, I see you're driving.
Can I go next? Just thank you. I'm driving and I'm about to go into the mountains, so I'm not sure if I'm going to lose. So thank you. Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm in California. My first time on this ride, and I'm super excited. And my question is, and I know you answered this on the last call, but I'm just going to ask you to repeat it again. I'm staying for a few weeks afterward, and I probably need to bring another suitcase. Did you say there was, so I'm going to have like my ride suitcase, this other suitcase, and a computer that I have to have with me. So what can I bring on the ride?
You can bring.
And what is
the
other one?
Yeah, if you have a second suitcase on the ride, it's really one suitcase. You don't want to have more than that. If you have a second suitcase, you can give it to us in Jerusalem, and then it will be in Eilat when you arrive, and it'll stay with it goes with the bike boxes into storage and then down to Eilat, and you can pick it up at Eilat, which works perfect if it's clothing that you need for another week or two afterwards. So just keep the stuff that you need for the ride in one suitcase.
And how about the computer bag?
You can take a computer bag with you along the way if you need it during the ride, and if you need it after the ride, I would put it in your suitcase and let it go.
Yeah, during the ride,
Okay, I'm going to need it during the ride.
Yeah, during the ride, most
What's
people
that?
pack their computer in their regular suitcase, which follows us from hotel to hotel. And that's worked out to be perfectly safe for the people and the computers.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
See you guys in a week or two.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
All right. Okay, I think this was who's next, but we'll get to everyone. Michael Sobel.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Looking forward. Just two simple questions. When we get to Israel and the guy picks up the bike, are we going to get some type of receipt from? No. So
you will call him. He'll come and look for you. He'll be in the place that you want. He'll look like somebody maybe who wants to steal your bike, but don't worry about it. It's okay.
Out to dog, huh?
Out to dog, exactly.
Out to dog. Yalla. The other question was, I'm bringing my new bike. It's a Cannondale Super 6 Evo Di2, and I remember when my local bike shop had to take off the handlebars because my stem was too long. That they said it's kind of a little bit complicated. So I guess my question is, how are the mechanics in Israel?
The mechanics are very good. If there's something unique or special about this particular model bike, and there's something on the Cannondale website that tells you how to do it, it'd be great for you to have a PDF of that on your phone in case we run into trouble. but the guys we have are really experienced and really good.
Okay. And
It sounds like a great bike.
yeah, it's you know, it's making me go another half mile. Peter's on this call too. I created a mod. He's kicking my ass. But by the way, are we permitted to bring EPO? Just kidding. That was a joke. I guess that's a no, huh?
Maybe, yeah.
Is it recommended to bring an extra derailleur hanger, by the way? Because that's something
Yes.
that's unique. To the
I was actually about to mention that. Something I learned a few years ago, derailleurs are actually pretty common parts. So if you have a problem and the derailleur breaks, there's a chance we can replace it. I wouldn't guarantee it, but there's a chance, except that the derailleur hanger is unique to each bike. So I learned that in 2019 when on the first day of the ride, I busted the derailleur hanger. So yeah, if you can bring one, if you can't and that breaks, then you'll end up on another bike for the rest of the ride, which is what happened with me in 2019. And for people who are worried that it's a huge part, it's like the size of a silver dollar kind of thing. It's small.
All right, Asher, David?
I think that the previous question pretty much answered mine was, do we need to bring any of our own tools if it's just normal stuff for putting on pedals and such and such? So,
Well,
all right,
on that,
that's
on a
easy.
previous call, I was told that the mechanics do not have torque wrenches. And anybody who has a carbon bike will need a torque wrench. I found it surprising that they said the mechanics wouldn't have a torque wrench, but that's the answer I got.
Yeah, the mechanics, they work on all the bikes. I've never checked their tools, so I actually don't know that we could say for sure that they do or they don't. But if it concerns you and you're bringing a bike, like for me, I actually bring the pedal wrench just because it's easier than going and finding someone with a pedal wrench and it's just sitting in the bike case.
Yeah, well, the pedal wrench, you can use almost any wrench, but
Yeah,
but for carbon bikes, you're in big trouble if you don't have a torque wrench.
yeah, but it's probably about the same size as the torque wrench. That's why I was using the comparison.
Same size, but a little heavier.
Definitely heavier, yes. And I think especially for people who are bringing their bikes, if there's something like that that worries you, and you're bringing your bike, it's in a case. Most bikes, the bike plus the case does not come out to the 50-pound limit. So, as long as you pack it well and it's tied in, most people's experience has been that it's fine, bring it.
David, I have electronic shifting on my bike, and 4 years ago, I actually brought an extra little tool with me that my bike shop loaned me for reconnecting the battery in the seat post for the shifting, and it's really small. And he said, just take it in case they don't have one. Well, the mechanics had it, so it was like one of those some things I was worried about. I brought it, but they had it, and they took care of everything really well.
That's great. Thank you. Asher, it looks like your hand is still up. Did we answer your questions?
Anymore? I'm good.
Okay. Peter?
Yes. Am I on here? Okay.
Let me see.
Your name's here. We just don't get to see
Hi.
you.
All right. I don't know. There's no video. Just real quick question on the day in Jerusalem. I know the schedule, but is there free time? I have some cousins who maybe during Jerusalem in the afternoon, is there free time between the orientation and dinner or after dinner? What are the kind of the itinerary for just that day?
You talk about Tuesday, orientation day?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, depending upon what time you get you get your bike set up there and do a test ride. There may, and if you don't do one of the tours, there may be some free time. The orientation starts approximately 4 o'clock. I don't
Yeah,
know. how long,
4:15.
4:15, and we go straight from orientation to dinner. And there's free time after dinner, which will
Okay.
probably, by the time all that's over, be 8-ish.
Okay, so 8 o'clock is free from 8 o'clock till the next morning.
Yeah, whether it's 8 or 8:30, depending upon, the timing of certain things, but something like that.
And is there any dress code, nice dress code or extra nice dress code for either Eilat or in Jerusalem?
No,
No,
Okay.
some people, well, in general, the dress code is incredibly casual. Some people do like to have a little nicer something for Shabbat Friday night, but it's not required. And people are all over the place and anything goes.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any more? Oh, Donald, I see you have your hand up.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to use the electronic hand signal. I'm Don Feldman from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This is my first ride. The pre-ride tour of Jerusalem, I signed up for it and paid for it, but never received any confirmation. They originally said they weren't 100% guaranteeing what was going to happen, depending on how many people sign up, et cetera, et cetera. Do you know if that's definitely happening?
Which tour are you referring to? Which one?
Oh, I'm sorry, the walking tour of Jerusalem.
Okay, let me just check. Yep, you're signed up. It is basically on the 31st, so the day before the ride, and you'll meet at the Ramada in the lobby. I think at 8 o'clock, but maybe 9 o'clock. I'll double check the exact time.
Just want to know if it was definitely on.
Oh yeah.
The other question I have is there any need to bring lights for my bike?
No,
I don't think so, no.
no, we won't be riding in the dark.
I think we answered that question recently online. I think some people always feel a little bit more comfortable with the light, but it's a group ride. It's always in the daytime. So if you're comfortable with it, totally up to you, but you don't need it hopefully you don't need it for safety.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions?
Judy?
Yeah, I thought of one more thing. I noticed that the GPS routes were posted. Thank you very much. I was planning on downloading the ones onto my Garmin. And I was just wondering how absolutely necessary it would be to have them on a Garmin. And, I'm used to riding with it because I like to see where I'm going, with the little map thing. But I can't remember from last time how well marked everything really is. I do
Yep.
remember some people going off and getting lost.
So,
We've had one ride where some people got lost. I think it was the year that we toyed with putting in road markings instead of having people. For the most part, I'll separate parts of the ride a little bit. Once where, south of Ashdod, there's not a lot of turns. We're on main roads, so it's pretty direct. And also, and I think this is important, there's almost always you can see another rider. We do encourage people, if you're not sure you're going the right way and you get to an intersection and you're not sure, stop, because there was a sweep rider and vehicles behind you, they'll get to you. I know for me personally, I really like having my bike computer because I tend to have in mind either how long I've ridden or how many miles it was from one stop to the next. But in all candor, other than that, I never look at it. But I think it's totally up to you, Judy. Everybody's got their own style. Do what you like to do.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else
I
have?
have a question.
Larry's got his hand up.
Oh, sorry, I can't see everyone. Yes.
No, it's okay.
Hi,
Yes.
hi. This is Larry Herring in San Diego. This is my second ride. I have a question. I signed up for the intensive program afterwards in a lot, the 2-day program. I just wonder how many participants have signed up for that and what can I, and also everybody flies out of Tel Aviv, flies out of a lot to Tel Aviv the same time the second day.
Yeah, so there's about 10 people signed up for that Arava experience, and you will be flying out of Tel Aviv on the 9th. Sorry, let me just think for a second. Yes, the 9th at 6 p.m. That's the flight that everyone's going to take.
Okay, so it's all set. Thanks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Jonathan said just a note of appreciation for all the volunteers and staff who are working hard. Thank you, Jonathan. Warren, did you have a question? No.
I
Okay.
I
think
see,
Donald
but
does.
Donald has his hand up.
Yeah. Sorry, did you just say everyone's flying out at 6 p.m. on the 9th?
No.
Everybody who was on that
I'm sorry.
that 2-day experience at the Institute.
Sorry.
Everybody else is flying out at 8 p.m. Just kidding.
Yeah, so the tickets, the domestic flight tickets are still being booked. I will say that I had a heads up from Arkia that there might be some disturbances in the flights because of some military exercises that they're performing. So if there are any changes in the flights, we'll let you know as soon as we know. But there will be flights. We just might have to change around the times a little bit. And in terms of the flights, there's no physical ticket right now. You will get a physical ticket in a lot. So that's something to just will come.
One more question. I'm going on the post trip to Wadi Rum and Petra 2 nights. How many people are going on it? And is there any information that you can share that we should know ahead of time?
I could look up right now to see how many people are on the 2 days, 1 night. I think, a good tip is just wear comfortable walking shoes. There'll be a lot of walking, and in Petra, you could choose to, walk up like little mountains if you want. You don't have to also. So good walking shoes, bottle of water, hat. But otherwise, it's a really nice tour. I actually have done it with my mom a couple of years ago.
Be
And
really careful about drinking the water in Petra. Make sure it's good bottled water. I speak about this from experience.
Good advice.
Good input. Yes.
let's see how many people. There are 29 people on the 2-day trip. So a fair amount of riders are going.
Thank you. So that'll be like one bus, probably.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I
And
think this group might hold the record for the number of people who are calling in from cars, which I guess is a sign that when you get to the last program before the ride, it's a priority. But more questions? I might add a couple of things. As some of you know, we always open registration the first day of the prior year's ride. So for friends and family who might be interested, or for any of you who might be interested in coming back again in 2023, hopefully that's all of you. Registration is scheduled to open on November 1st. We've already sent out, I think, the first pre-announcement of that. There'll be another one in about a week. And, a lot of us do talk to people who say they're interested in coming, one thing that happened this year, because we sold out so early, we had about 50 people who ended up on the wait list, almost 50, and we actually cleared none of them. Because we budget for a little bit of overbooking. So we were slightly overbooked. We're ending up at exactly the number that we had forecast. For next year, I think it'll be even more important that people who are interested register early, because I would anticipate that it'll also sell out again. And then I know, hopefully all of you share our excitement in being back in Israel, whether you're an alum who's back or a new rider who's there. I know from my perspective, little known secret, we start planning for each year's Israel ride about 18 months in advance, which means in middle of 2018, we were planning the 2020 ride, which became a virtual ride, compliments of COVID. From the middle of 2019, we were planning the 2021 ride, which had to be canceled because of COVID. So this one we've been planning for 18 months now, but it actually feels like roughly 4.5 years. And we are very, very excited to be back in Israel for this bike ride. So it's great that all of you will be joining us.
And one thing I'd like to add, we are incredibly excited, and we are really looking forward to things, but we are concerned about COVID, even though it seems to have gone, into the background a little bit. I still hear of people coming down with it. So I just ask everybody, whatever their current level of caution is, to amp it up a couple of levels for the week or so before you come, because you really don't want to end up with COVID on the ride, nor do you really want to be the one that is bringing COVID to the ride and maybe creating trouble for others. So everybody has their own level of how they deal with it, but why don't you take your level and amp it up, 1 or 2 numbers over the next week or so for some extra precaution.
I think that's good advice.
Thank you everyone for coming. If there are no more questions, we can wrap early. If there are, feel free to speak up now. We're happy to stay on.
I have a quick question, and it probably doesn't apply to a lot of people. I'm trying to vote in the election on November 1st. Does anybody have any information about that? Like, if you can vote somewhere other than where you're used to live?
Mail in from where you do live.
No, I'm talking about the Israeli election.
My understanding, although it's limited, is that you can't vote anywhere. You have to vote at your official polling station, wherever that is. And I know we have issues with crew members trying to find a way to vote, Jerusalemites, etc. So I think you need to.
I'm trying to find out from the consulate. I have no idea where my official polling station would be. So I guess I'll just keep trying to find out, and I'll let you know if I discover anything. Thank you.
We will have, the election is on Tuesday, our orientation day. We will have, after dinner Tuesday night, we have a speaker coming, a gentleman by the name of Teddy Fisher, who has been on the ride. His father was actually on the first ride, and he's been in Israel for the last 10 years or so, and he works with Alon Tal as a legislative assistant to him, and has been involved in a lot of the things that Alon Tal, for those of you who don't know, was the founder of the Arava Institute, a leading environmentalist in Israel, and has been in the Knesset for the last year or so, and is running again. Anyway, he will be there to share some information and insights as to what he's seen and learned. This will be after dinner on Tuesday. You'll hear more about that. And always by our customer support desk, wherever we are, there'll be a schedule posted, which is a good place to go and look and see, because sometimes there are changes in schedules that happen. And I hope you all have gotten onto the WhatsApp group. Alana, I don't know, have we sent a message lately? Let's send out another test message so people can see it.
Okay,
Sometime in the next, we can send a Shabbat Shalom message tomorrow.
sure.
And do I recall correctly, Alana, that the welcome guide has a code to scan that'll
Yeah,
connect them to WhatsApp?
It has a QR code, so you could
Yeah.
open your camera and it'll take you to the link.
So
But
if
just
anyone
make
is
sure-
not sure where to go back to the welcome guide. Alana did a really nice job with it, and it's got the code for you.
Yeah, and just make sure you download WhatsApp first as an application.
So those of us that are getting Israeli phones won't be able to download it until we get there.
Right.
Do you anticipate any issue with that?
Well, WhatsApp actually, I think it stays on your phone. So even if you start using it here and you change your SIM cards, you could still use the same WhatsApp. It's kind of weird, but I lived in Israel for a long time. And when I moved back to America, I used the same WhatsApp. I didn't have to change WhatsApp number.
Right. I'm getting a whole Israeli phone.
Oh, a whole new phone. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
then,
so you'll download it there. One reminder, I think we have mentioned it once before. Ellen's question about the Israeli elections reminded me, we are still in Israel when the elections happen in the United States. We won't comment on who you should vote for, but if everybody could try to vote before they leave, absentee, we think it's a good thing.
and we just have one more question from Steve Golden. Howie, will Shira and I be allowed to go first on descents as in the past? We're concerned about having to pass lots of people as we gain speed, and there won't be other tandems on the ride.
Yes, it shouldn't be a problem. Again, everything is based upon what happened, what's going on at that moment, which there can be problems, but in concept, yes, no problem. Just, be in touch with the lead rider, which I'm sure you will.
If we're being assigned a roommate, can we find out who that is before we go?
Sure, you could email me, Ellen, or I'll write it
Okay.
down and I can email you.
Got it, thanks.
Yeah, sure. All right, everyone, very exciting. I'm super jazzed and excited. Can't wait to meet everyone in person. And yeah, feel free to email if anything comes up. If you have any questions or concerns, we are here.
We look forward to seeing you all in Jerusalem.
Thank you, everyone. And a special thank you to Ilana, who's been working really, really hard these last few weeks to try and respond to all of your queries and do 100 other things. And she's really gone above and beyond.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm sorry if it's taken a day or two. I'm trying to get to everyone. So, yes.
And Alana responds at a level where I don't think anybody would guess that this is actually her first experience with the Israel Ride. So it's been wonderful.
Thank you. All right. Well, can't wait to see everyone in person. And yeah, have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Safe travels, everybody.
Thank you.
Travels.
Thank you.